going to show you guys how to make these neat roof tiles for your buildings. These are great for townhouses, manors, or as you can see here, a mausoleum. On the next video, I'm going to show you guys how to make this nice stonework and mortar look. So if that kind of thing interests you, smash the subscribe button, hit the notification, and don't forget to like and leave a message. But for now, let's talk about the tiles. What's important about tiles is that they're angled and that they're overlapping, and I think this kind of texture that I made here kind of manages to simulate that. So if you want to see how I did it very quickly and easily, join me at the table and let's get to it.
So what we're going to need is an X-Acto knife, a coffee stirrer, and some sketching pencils. Now sketching pencils range between H2 and B9, and I prefer using the stronger shade pencils of the B6 and higher because they give a much stronger shade when I texture with them. This helps me see where I've already textured and where I need to add some more. And you can see here how the stronger pencil really gives a very nice strong shade of gray when I texture with it. In the real world, tiles are placed in overlapping fashion on top of the roof so that as rain falls down, it slides from one tile to the next and doesn't seep through the cracks and down into your house. But how do we use these tools to create the angled step structure of the roof tiles? So firstly, we use the X-Acto knife and the coffee stirrer. The coffee stirrer helps us create long, parallel, and horizontal lines going from the top of the roof to the bottom. These will define the levels of tiles that we're going to create. Now the cut depth that you need to create with the X-Acto knife isn't really deep. It's actually something like 1 or 2 millimeters, so don't use a lot of force as you cut. Here I've already cut these sections. Now it's important to use a fresh blade when you start a build. And this is because XPS is really good at taking texture, but it's also really good at tearing if you're using blunt instruments. Switch your blade and it'll help you get nice clean cuts. And these cuts are super important because using these pre-cuts before adding some texture with a pencil really helps you get nice clean texture lines and avoid tearing of your model unless that's what you're going for. Now that these sections are cut, I'm ready to add the texture using the pencil. I use the entire tip of the pencil, that means the graphite and the wooden part, pressing it down on each cut, but only depressing the uppermost part of each section, taking care to push the pencil in one direction, not going back and forth, but trying to keep the direction of the pencil even. This will again help avoid tears and get an even texture and not get a wavy texture that might be created by going back and forth. And you can actually feel the step texture with your finger like so, and you only need to depress the foam a millimeter or so to get this texture. If you do go back and forth, you have to keep the pressure that you push either forward and backwards the same. You kind of managed to get away with it this time, but if you're a beginner of this, try and keep your motion monodirectional. You can see how the graphite from the pencil is laid down on each subsequent layer so that I can see which layers I've worked on. If you like this video, this would be a great time to smash that subscribe button or leave a comment below about a video that you'd like to see me do in the future. Now that I'm done putting in the texture for the entire section, it's time to split each section into tiles, simply using the X-Acto knife. To do this, going from top to bottom on the entire section. Once you're done cutting all the roof tiles out, it's time to take your pencil and simply go over all of these dividing cuts to really emphasize them. And you can add some scoring and weathering while you're doing this. Now when you're done cutting and texturing the roof, it's a good idea to use your pencil in a similar way that we used it to create the step structure for the roof, just using it to depress the sides of the cuts dividing each roof tile from the other. This will give them a curvier look, which is more common where I live, where the roof tiles aren't flat, they're actually curved. And I like this aesthetic. I think it's pretty neat. I forgot to do it originally for this build, so I actually added it after laying down some black Mod Podge on the model. But you see, it still worked, and so if you actually forget a step in this texturing, it's not that horrible. It's better to remember it on time, but sometimes you can go back and fix it before it's too late. On this build, as I said before, I'm not going to go into the painting of the build. This is only a texturing tutorial. But painting was really easy. I simply put down some black Mod Podge and then came back with some craft paints, burnt sienna, and then in terracotta, colored the entire roof in these colors, adding in some sienna for highlights when I was done. And as you see, the roof came out pretty nice. There are, of course, many other ways to create roof tiles for your structures. And if you're interested in seeing some more, write it down in the comments below, and I'll think about how to make videos about them.
And that's how you make this type of roof tile. I hope you guys found this video interesting and helpful. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. And I'll see you guys on the next video about how to create interesting stonework and mortar effects. Bye!